This is the Quantum Leap podcast, and I am Peter.
And Mikey.
And today's rewatch, we are going back and watching how the test was won. And so I guess we kind of just learned this today, but several sources have the episode numbered differently. And so depending what you're going off of, this is either episode four or five. We're calling it episode five since we split up Genesis into two parts, not knowing that.
Yeah, I guess they later on split the pilot into two episodes. It was originally just one, so yeah, it depends where you're looking.
That kind of makes sense too, because if you're replaying episodes back, you're not replaying the entire Genesis two-parter, right? So you do have to split it up. So I could kind of see them probably doing that kind of being one of the reasons possibly. But we are back to talk about this particular episode. It's a doozy. And you know what? Doozy is also a term, I guess that can go either way depending on context. But I don't know. Before we get into the episode, let's talk about some of the players involved in this one. So we have, sorry guys, I got a bunch of different windows up. I don't know where to start. Okay, so the air date for this episode was April 14th, 1989. Um, it is written by Deborah Arakilian. My apologies. I probably butchered that. It's directed by Ivan Dixon. And the leap date is August 5th, 1956, somewhere in Texas, Riata Ranch near Lubbock, probably, more than likely. And he leaps into Daniel, aka Doc Young. And Mikey, do you have the description of this episode?
Yeah, I have a little synopsis. Actually, I'm taking this one from Al's place. Shout out to Brian Green. Sam leaps into Daniel Doc Young, a veterinarian working on a Texas ranch, who is coerced into entering into a cowboy contest in order to marry the ranch owner's daughter, Tess. I'm sorry.
I think it would be fun if, like, whatever it is, maybe don't read it ahead just to get your natural reaction.
That's, I'm
To be
sorry.
fair, they kept on using the term contest.
It was a cowboy contest. I can't wait to talk about the cowboy contest. Yeah.
Is that right? I don't know.
I don't, sorry.
Yeah. Let's just start with initial thoughts. I feel you have a lot you want to get off your chest just right away here.
Okay. So, oh God. I didn't like this episode. I didn't, okay. All right, so I think I like boiled it down to two kind of different things that I didn't like about it. Number one, let's just get off the bat. We're watching this in 2025. This aired in 1989. They're trying to portray 1956, and this episode is just very sexist to me. Like it's I think the idea of it is they're trying to say, "Hey, look how far we've come. Women were treated so badly in 1956." But I don't even know if it accomplishes that. I don't know. It's just very foreign to me. I grew up in a household where women worked. Like my mother started as a part-time bank teller and worked her way up to like a branch manager, and like my grandma was a clerk at the post office, and when she retired, she ended up being in a job where she was helping recruit women to work for the Postal Service. So, like, this is just not my favorite. The second thing that I don't like, I just think the whole premise is silly. I think a lot of points is Sam is not acting like Sam, and we'll talk about that. At least not the Sam that I've met in the past 3/4 episodes, depending on how you're counting. And yeah, I don't know. So at points it seemed like really bad fan fiction to me. Um, Sorry for the writer of the episode or their family. You might not want to listen to the rest of the way.
Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of what you said. Inside baseball, you and I, we've already spoken about this episode, light, while working because we've just both had a lot that we wanted to get off. Not necessarily get off our chest, but I think you first reached out and wasn't maybe sure how I was going to um receive your, I don't know, criticisms of the, or just even like the idea of like I didn't like this episode, and I was just like, hey, that's fine. I didn't either, you
Okay,
know.
yeah.
And I do remember like going into this episode, it wasn't one that like, I quote unquote, cared about. I didn't remember it being like a very like meaty episode. I do remember the idea of like him leaping into dock and he's supposed to marry Tess. That's just what I remembered as a kid. Remember, I'm 6 years old watching this show, and I'm not asking anybody to explain anything for me. I'm just watching this because it's time traveling, and I was a kid who loved Back to the Future, and so I watched it. And so a lot of the stuff went over my head. Um, I do remember like the mirror image. We'll get to that very soon, but I remember even as a kid, when Sam looks into the mirror, and I guess we're supposed to think like, oh, he was never gonna win Tessa's heart because look at him. He wears glasses or something. Like I kind of remembered that as a kid, just like kind of like, wait, what? You know, um, that was really odd to me. The placement of that reveal was also very odd. Um, I'm not gonna I'm gonna be honest about like yeah how I felt about like some of the sequences here and just the story like number one, just to throw this out there, Sam was supposed to save the pig. That's the 72% chance probability, I believe is what I have in mind. 72 chance to cure the pig is what Al says at one point, and then it was and then like the idea of Tess was brought up, and then Al was like, "Oh no, it's 49% chance that you're not that she's gonna marry somebody else," or
It
there's
it
a lot
was
of probability.
whoever wrote her letters will marry her or something like that. I think it was more than 49% chance, but I think it was like
49 was
95.
something. And I
Okay,
think yeah, I remember there being like a 40 something percent chance that was mentioned.
I
Um,
believe you.
you, yeah, I uh the the funny thing is like everything was given to us, you know, like in the dialogue right there at the very beginning. So it's hard to feel a little insulted because it's like, oh man, it's I don't think they're trying to trick us or anything like that, but like this one, Ziggy was kind of correct, but it was Al's fault, and we'll get there. We have to blame Al for this episode.
Well, was Ziggy correct though? Because
Ziggy said told Al, on the hand link that it was a 72% chance that he was here to cure the pig.
okay,
And
but didn't he
then
leap
because
because he provided lyrics to it?
there was a 50% chance that he would leave once Tess says I do. And
Okay,
then they hear the song and I was like, "Hey, why don't you go give it a try?" You know,
yeah,
which I do.
I have a lot to say about that too. Because
We'll get there. Let's
yeah,
start with the mirror image. What did
okay.
you think about Doc as the leapy?
So the way that Al was talking, I expected some hideous person with like scars or boils on his face or something. And he just looks like a normal guy. Looks like a relatively attractive person. So I don't know why Al said, "Oh, he never had a chance with Tess." Well, why not? He was a normal looking person. I don't know. That was a weird comment, and they made it a big reveal because normally we see the mirror image earlier in the episode, and they waited all the way till the end, and I supposed to be a big thing, but yeah, he just looked normal to me.
It made no sense. When Sam leaps in, he's already all muddied up, and so he's got to take a bath, right? Or a shower. And what, does Doc not have a mirror? Doc seems
Yeah,
to be pretty clean shaven at the end of the episode there.
good
Sam
point.
too, obviously, like so there was just no mirrors at all the entire time. The 50s, I'm sure they had mirrors. Almost
Definitely,
certain
yeah.
they did. Um,
Um,
yeah.
it was also weird that he was wearing glasses, but Sam wasn't wearing glasses, which normally is not the case, I believe, in the past few
Right,
episodes.
right.
So,
He Sam should have had glasses on as well. Um, let's get to some of the names too. I forgot. Is there anybody that you recognize in this episode at all?
um, the only person that I definitely like I recognized and then I verified was Buddy Holly, um, who played Craterface on one episode of
Oh
Saved
yeah.
by the Bell. Yeah, so I actually went back and watched that episode of Saved by the Bell. Um, just 'cause. Yeah, so that's who I recognized. Chance, I feel like I didn't look up his credits honestly, and I feel like I recognize him from somewhere, and he seems like one of those actors that's had a ton of credits, but I actually didn't look myself.
Yes, he also was stuntman for Elvis Presley.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah, several of Elvis's movies, but he was a working actor and was in a lot of like big production type stuff. Just to back up real quick to Buddy Holly, Skull Faults, Crater Face. You when we first talked about this episode after you watching it, you had mentioned that, and so like just that little bit that we were talking about where you're like, oh, he was Crater Face, and I feel like I remembered that episode much more than I did like how the test was won, you
Oh,
know?
really?
Yeah, because I was like, remember, like I said, oh, wasn't it the one with the cream and it like gets all over his face and then it turns it purple or whatever? And so
Yeah,
like I remembered a lot of those details, but this one I was just like, oh, there's like so the pig was why I guess Sam leaped in here. Well, that's weird. And I didn't necessarily remember the contest, but I don't know. The details of the contesting wasn't something that I really remembered because I was such a kid. But I do remember Wayne kind of sabotaging some of the things. I didn't remember that he was dealing Tess the cards, so that's something that I've forgotten. And I do remember the reveal when Sam flips over, or at least I remembered Sam flipping over the cards. It was actually chance, right? So in my
yeah.
memory, I remembered Sam flipping the cards, and it wasn't it. Um, but then like everyone leaves the table. And then he looks at the cards again. And so like as a kid, I thought there was like some sort of magic that just went over my head. I did not understand that he was dealing the good cards to Tess. So as a kid, I thought that was the same set of cards Sam looked at twice. And so at some
Oh,
point, like they just changed. And so I was just like, well, that's weird.
yeah.
I guess Wayne's very good. So that's the fun part about going back and like and just kind of like, oh, see, I totally misremembered that, or I processed it differently because I was so young. So what did okay, you mentioned Chance. That's played by Lance Legault. Wayne, I mentioned, is played by Marshall R. Teague. Now, Albie actually did an interview with him several years ago, and that is available in the interwebs, YouTube. I know that Brian has it linked on Al's Place, the website, and he retired as a U.S. From the U.S. Navy and
Oh,
also was like deputy sheriff something in Memphis, Tennessee. And so I just caught that a little bit like when I was like washing dishes earlier. I just threw that on just to see if I can pick up anything to kind of add to this. But that was the extent of it. I didn't get very far into the interview, but Albie does have one with him. And the other person worth noting, obviously, is Tess McGill played by Carrie Lizer. My apologies. She was like a showrunner of some show like a few years ago, and so she's still pretty working actively. I feel more as a producer, and so she's done some shows. I guess I could just click on it and look real quick rather than be like, I don't remember what it was. Will and Grace. Will and Grace, she
oh,
produced like 95 episodes of Will and Grace. She was in 25 episodes of Matlock. And I watched some
oh.
Matlock too. And so like I could kind of vaguely see her just looking at like some of the screenshots and stuff like that. But even watching her as Tess in this episode, I didn't recognize her at all. So let's start with Chance and Tess. What did you think about this father-daughter relationship, which I still kind of like they are? They're related. I didn't remember that being the thing.
Right. So when we first met them, I wasn't entirely sure that they were related because she refers to Chance as Chance and not Dad.
Right.
Um, and so yeah,
Do you
I
think it's she's just trying to fit in with the boys by calling him Chance, or do you think maybe they're not as tight?
I think it was more about fitting in. I mean, they seemed okay. Like the only real conflict between them was he wanted her to get married and she didn't want to get married. I don't know if that's enough to hurt your entire relationship, but I don't know. Yeah, I think it was more just fitting with the boys.
Okay, let's try to see what we remember from like their opening sequence. Because she's talking about it doesn't sound like there's anybody else to leave the ranch to, and he's getting up there in age, right?
Right.
And it sounds like she's been in cowboying like all these years because her mother passed away and wasn't around to raise her as a young lady. And so she spent her time around Chance. And maybe there was just that barrier, that like he's a rancher, didn't have time to raise her. And so she kind of became like this tomboy. And I don't know for some reason. Well, and I guess we're supposed to think because it's the 50s, because it's Texas, maybe these Christian values I again, we mentioned in a previous episode, like I'm not religious, and so like my apologies if I don't want to come off insensitive because I don't, I mean no like disrespect or anything like that or to offend anybody, but I was just like it was weird that it seems like Chance wouldn't leave it to her only because she's a girl. But if she got married, he'd feel better leaving it in the hands of her husband. Does
Right.
that okay?
But but why? Yeah, but that's your daughter, so
But yeah, but why
why?
does it matter?
Yeah. Yes.
But again, like you and I are dads in the 2020s, raising like, young people. If I die, leave everything to you guys, but
Yeah.
and so like in this other line that really threw me too. I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at it because I thought it was so silly. Sam talks about like they're talking about the land and what you would get, if you married Tess. And then Chance is like basically like this is Texas. We don't kid about our land, about our women or our livestock. And I'm just like, excuse me?
Yeah.
I was born
Yeah.
in Texas. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Land, women, and livestock. It's all one
Yeah.
group. Yeah. I
I
don't.
don't know where
Yeah.
Lubbock is. I was born in Corpus Christi, so you can't get any more south than Corpus Christi, Texas. But
Yeah. I wasn't
yeah,
sure if this was
that's
an actual town or if they made it up. To be honest with you, I didn't look. So
I didn't either. And according to Al's place, it says like near Lubbock. And it didn't
okay.
specify, at least I didn't see it, if it was a fictional place or not. But the fact that Buddy Holly is from Lubbock, Texas,
Oh, right. Okay. That makes sense. Gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Uh, Go ahead.
yeah. Were you gonna add to the Chance and Tess?
No, no, I don't think I have anything else to say. I just, yeah, it's very, he really loves his ranch, as you can tell. Yeah,
Sure. Is 50,000 acres, right? That's
yes,
quite a bit.
yes,
But but again, you would rather I don't know. And then like there seems to be some men there that are quote unquote capable, but she refers to them as inferior stock. I'm like, whoa, geez, okay. So
yeah.
how old do you think Tess is supposed to be?
I She seems in her 20s to me, but I, I don't know. But they're acting like she's 40 something. I don't know. Like I don't like.
She
I
was
don't really
giving
know.
me kind of the vibes. I'm forgetting the name, but did you ever watch True Grit?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, no, it's just one of those like. it's the way she's Tess is being played. I felt like she was younger, you know, and some of the things that they put her through, it didn't seem as she was as experienced. And we'll definitely get to the contest. But let's just wait a little bit. We've been
Okay.
talking a little bit about Buddy Holly. What did you think about the first time we see him? Did you catch on that it sounded like Peggy Sue the song or?
No, I'm not really like too familiar with the song. Sorry, Buddy Holly fans. Like it's just not something that I don't know that I'm familiar with. But yeah, no, the second time around, I remember hearing it like in the midway through the episode. I'm like, oh, okay, he's getting there. I got it. Okay. Um, do you want me to comment about the very end? About
I mean, we could just lump all of it in, but let me add a few here. I didn't remember ever picking up on the song until the very end, until the first
yeah.
time I watched it. So I watched it twice. The second time was tonight to take the notes. But the first time I watched it, I was like, damn, no, that's Peggy Sue if I ever heard Peggy Sue. Like that's almost undeniable. So that's almost kind of like if you are familiar with Buddy Holly, there's no way you don't pick up on like the melody of Peggy Sue. And so like I couldn't not hear it and even like him using like other lyrics and stuff like that. I'm just like, no, it would be weird for anybody to like not pick up on that. But you know, it's just a kid who looks like Buddy Holly glasses, you know, with a guitar. They're in
Hmm.
Texas. But I will credit Quantum Leap for introducing me to Peggy Sue, the
Oh, okay.
song. So I do know the song because of this show, but also La Bamba is literally like one of my favorite movies of all time, which also has
Okay.
Buddy Holly. And then there's a scene where Richie and his brother Bob are playing for Lubbock, Texas. And so like I remember as a young kid kind of making that connection. Oh, Lubbock, Texas, in La Bamba, Buddy Holly from Quantum Leap. And so I kind of picked up on that. And so I feel like this is also kind of one of those like, you know, it's almost in the same universe. And it's funny because I mentioned La Bamba. There is an episode, I don't know what season, where they use some footage from La Bamba.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
you know the movie pretty well.
No, I don't. No.
Okay, it's been a while, I bet that you've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just they use like an exterior shot of like outside of a party, you know, to kind
Oh,
of
okay.
place that episode at a similar type party because of
Oh, okay.
the
I
like
was gonna ask, should I rewatch the movie before we watch this? Or...
hey, you know what? Well, I mean, when we get to that episode, I can probably say like, hey, you might want to watch La Bamba, you know,
Okay,
just
sure. Why
because it's a
not?
great movie with a
Well, there's
really
that too.
awesome
Yeah.
soundtrack. Yeah. Which I did do a review. It's one of my most proudest episodes. If you guys want to check it out, Podstalgic, La Bamba.
There you
Um,
go.
okay, so I do like the running gag that Sam just like doesn't know what to call this guy. So he's like, "Oh, hey, Pard," but then it
Yeah.
ends up being like the dog's name too.
Yes.
And
Yes.
um and I did remember the thunderstorm where like Tess is about to say buddy and like Sam kind of leans
Yes.
in and is waiting for it and then like the crash of like the lightning which like frightens her and then he's like no no dang it you know and the whole line of like he looks up to you know the man or woman upstairs and is just like hey you know can you put name tags on them or can it or something like that so
Yes.
yeah I've always thought that to be kind of fun but
I
your
did like
thoughts on
that
the
gag
end
actually. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I did find it like but when he first meets him, he goes has this whole monologue. Like I don't know people's names, but yet he knew which car to get into when he left was his, and he knew how to get home. So I've but he just didn't know someone else's name.
So, somebody could have told him which car, right?
Okay,
We didn't see that, and also, more than likely, driver's license.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
fair enough.
and you know, there's no map quest back then. There's no Google
No,
Maps. And you know, maybe he just has a good sense of direction.
good
Um,
sense of
but
direction.
yeah, but since we're kind of talking about the scene where he's riding up in a Jeep with the piggy, right? Uh,
Uh-huh.
in my DVDs, there's an option where you can get kind of like a brief commentary with Scott Bakula giving you a tidbit about said episode before starting the episode.
Oh,
And yeah, so
well,
the
now I'm
two
super
things that he,
jealous.
well, I'm sure you could it's probably all on YouTube. I would bet. I mean, hey, let's start with Alice Plays, right?
Yeah,
Um,
true.
so one of the things that Scott mentioned was the difficulty of like driving the Jeep whilst like having to hold the pig, basically, and he kind of like ended it a little sassy. It was just like, let's just say it was fun, like a fun day or something like that. Like I forgot how he answered it, but it just made me think, oh, like this is why we love him. It's just he's so charismatic. But the other thing that he shared about this episode was in the I'm forgetting the actual sequence in the episode, but it's a scene where Sam has Piggy in a drawer
Piggy in a
uh,
drawer. Okay.
of
Uh,
a desk of his
yeah,
desk.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so I guess they had to do some like pickup shots or whatever, so they had to like come back and like redo some stuff, but the pig had outgrown that cubby,
Oh no.
and so they had to get a new one, and so there was always like several pigs and stuff like that, and so the two like kind of behind the scenes stuff he shared were like pig related.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Yeah. Um, let's see. This is also the first episode where we find out that an animal can see Al.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I thought it was kind of cool. The raccoon was like trying to play with him.
Yeah, I did find that interesting and yeah, Al just plays it off as like, of course animals can see me. I said, "Oh, okay. This is new information to me." Um
It's new to us and clearly new to Sam. Al seems to have uh at least not surprised by it. I don't think like he knew, but he was just like, well, yeah, of course, like animals. And I do wonder if it's kind of like that thing where they say like maybe animals or even small children could kind of pick up like these, like extra senses, the vibes, the whatever, whether it be like paranormal or whatever. Like maybe that's kind of in line with like the hologram being projected, via the imaging chamber into Sam's. We'll learn all the language, you guys, but I'm freestyling here based off of what I kind of remember. But um, yeah, I think that's where it is. But this is the first episode where that happens. Uh, your thoughts on Wayne?
um I mean, I think I could tell at the very beginning when we first met him and just by certain looks that he does, um that he's into Tess. Didn't seem like such a great guy to me overall, to be honest with you. I don't know. I guess is he's not doing great things in the episode, but it's all because he likes Tess, which he could just say that really. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, it's that macho alpha male mentality, I guess. He uses the expression like, I want to rope you.
Yeah, yes, he does.
And we're like what, one episode removed, no, two episodes removed from yeah, he wants to pin me,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, Jamie Lee and Oscar. Um, yeah, I thought it was really interesting this him showing Sam how to like kind of hold the rope, when roping or whatever, the dally and all of that. I forgot all of that, but I do remember like the broken thumb thing that Sam
Y-
did. So
Yeah.
so I remember that, and so like watching it and taking notes. Did did you did you think Sam knew what Wayne was doing when he first told him that?
Um Possibly because didn't Sam say that he used to ride horses?
At least his
Is that what
dad
he?
showed him like, you stare the horse in the eye and all that.
Right. Yeah, so
So
I think he kind of sort of knew how to ride horses, so but yeah. Um
I
yeah.
think he did, but it didn't. come off as clear in this, but I think if you really think about it, for Sam to kind of throw back that like cowboy humor back to him, I think Sam very well knew exactly what Wayne was doing. It was just kind of weird because um I guess we're also supposed to think, well, like Doc probably wouldn't know, so like I guess Sam doesn't know either because Tess questions Wayne like, "What were you guys talking about?" He's like, "Ah, well, I was just you know, telling him how to hold the rope or whatever." And she's like, You told him about the thumb, right?" So it's like that could have been written a little bit like neater because that was almost kind of, you know what I mean? Like you're kind of like leading the horse with the carrot, right? Like you're trying to make us think this other way, but there's got to be a way to write that where it comes off much more clear that like Sam knew. But I mean, I guess if I picked up on it, I feel like my twang is coming out. Yeah, are you?
I'm trying not to do an accent if I'm being honest. Um,
Yeah, so here's the thing, you guys. I wasn't joking when I said I was born in Texas, and very much in my time in service in the military, when I'm around other guys with an accent, I feel like like I start to have like a little bit of the twang when I talk. Um, I just went to Texas like the other year for my sister's wedding, and I was around it, and I feel like it was starting to come out of it in me. But anyway, so if it comes out, there's a little bit of backstory on that. But yeah, I think Sam knew. We still don't know a whole lot about his family, but in this episode, Sam mentions he's still like a baby, or at least very young. His sister hadn't yet been born, so we know that much.
I thought it was interesting that we leaped in August of 1956, but in Genesis, we were in September of 1956. So we were really just a month before we were in the very first couple episodes. And we're only, you
Still
know,
in Texas?
four
Or
episodes in. So why, there's so many years. I was just curious to me that we used 1956 again, is what I guess I was thinking.
that would be a good question. I wonder if there's somewhere we can find that out. Like, how did they decide on the years?
Did the writer
Um,
just pick a year, or did Donald Belisario, was
yeah,
that? Um, I don't know. Yeah,
yeah,
uh, yeah, it just seemed odd to me that because it's literally 6 weeks before the pilot episode. So
yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know, so I don't want to make something up. I was trying to guess, but yeah, they've been keeping it a little close, especially location too. Um, right? Wasn't the second leap in Genesis when Hugh was the baseball player? Wasn't that
oh, the
also in
baseball team
Texas?
is in Texas too. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
we
See,
really love
so
Texas in this show. We love it.
um, I don't know if they do, but we'll see. We'll
Okay,
keep on
fair
going.
enough.
Yeah, I don't remember that to be a theme of Phineas Swords, but yeah, it is going to be interesting. Uh, we mentioned Wayne. What did you think about the poker game?
Oh, um, so I thought it was interesting that so Al pops in and he clues Sam into that Wayne's cheating, but he tell it's Al tells him that Sam has those, what is it, aces and eights, um
Right.
which is has some sort of meaning that I don't remember right now. But uh, but it was actually he dealt that to Tess, but couldn't Al just have walked around the table and just looked at Tess's cards very easily? Like, to me,
Yes.
I think he could have just helped Sam win the whole thing very quickly instead of going through that. Like, that's how I would have written that scene myself. Like, I would have just, I don't know.
I would,
It-
yeah, yes to what you're saying, but maybe we can explain it away by saying Al kind of had his mind elsewhere, because Sam was not happy with Al in this episode too. Um, I liked the poker game because I felt, some actual real tension there with Wayne, especially like Sam calling him out as a cheater. And so I really like that whole sequence. It played out. It
yes.
also gave, Chance something to do for once. as
Yeah.
well. So I think Chance was definitely underused. I just not a fan of like the whole contest thing in itself. Um, the other thing here, no, post hole digging or something
Okay.
like that.
Yeah. Can I just talk about the whole concept of the contest,
Yeah,
please?
please.
Okay. Okay. So imagine if somebody went to your job, okay, and said, hey, like, okay, let me restart. Imagine you're at your job, okay, this job that you do every day, and you went up to like a random woman and you said, "Hey, if you can do my job that I do every day better than me, then I'll marry you." Like, that's just a dumb, stupid thing. And I get it. Like she picked who she thought was the least capable person in the moment. But like, I don't know. But also, the contest is just silly because we're just making it up as we're going along. Like, we're just adding new events to it. Then all of a sudden it's a tie. And I don't know. And then there's a tiebreaker. And I'm like, but I don't know. I think I have all
Yeah.
the events here. If you'd love to hear them, let's see. I'd have to find it. But go ahead.
Well,
Sorry.
while you are looking for that, I guess I guess the yes to us, we're like, well, that's weird, but we do find out that Doc appears to also have a crush on Tess, based off of his diary. And
Oh
so
yeah, we
for
got to talk
for
about that.
Doc, yeah, so for Doc, it would be very welcomed. Would he do better than Sam? Probably not. Doesn't seem like it. And like it since we were just talking about the post hole digging, I also considered like, okay, well the previous episodes have been I don't know. I almost felt like we need a little something where we can get Scott like without a shirt on, him doing, some manly stuff. Like I don't know. I like that crossed my mind because I'm just like, why did we do this episode? Because there's just problems all over the place. Very problematic. A lot of these things. Did you find the events
I
for the
do. Are
contest?
you ready? Okay,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
here we go. So the
Let's
contest
let's take them one by
contest.
one. Let's go. Yeah.
Okay, there's roping, which we went over. Wrangling. That remember he was trying to last or wait, roping, wrangling. Oh, because they had the brand and they were trying to wrangle uh
Cattle.
house. Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
Hmm.
Drinking is also part of this contest, apparently.
Says Wayne.
Drinking. Yeah, yeah. Poker is a part of the cowboy contest. And then, as you said, post hole digging. Um, and then we just all of a sudden started adding dancing because well, that comes up later. And then finally, in the end, we for a tiebreaker, we have to ride Widowmaker. Um, I don't know how many husbands that horse has killed, but yeah, so yeah, Widowmaker.
Yeah,
Uh,
I know. See, it's one of those things. Like again, I mentioned like I forgot what episode it was, but like the whole Widowmaker thing, they didn't set that up like at least for me well enough that I was actually fearful for Sam. Like he got on the first time and he got thrown off. Like that to me, that's just like, oh, somebody inexperienced being thrown off. Like I didn't really get a sense of danger. So when Sam shows up and he's like, I'm gonna ride Widowmaker, and win. Like I was just like, okay, it's just
yeah,
Scott Bakula back on the horse again. It's just, so it's just one of those things. I'm just like, low stakes, right? Like I mentioned how the right hand of God was, kind of a pedestrian episode, but we both like really enjoyed a lot of the things out of that episode. And this one is just like Sam is supposed to like cure the pig, but then there's this contest that he also doesn't need to participate in because ultimately it's Wayne and Tess that are meant to be together. So what again would how would Doc have fared if it was him in that contest? Because that would have happened regardless. Tess would have been him, right? Doc, I want Doc, right? She still would have done that. Sam didn't do anything different to bring attention to himself, I don't think, right?
True.
Tess was still going to pick someone that she thought was the least capable of the cowboys, the one man who's not a cowboy as a veterinarian. And so that would happen either way. And if he didn't do so well, what was Wayne still gonna just like stand back and never reveal himself? I think Wayne only did that because Sam was doing well. So
Yes.
so
Yeah,
like the
that's true.
percentage, yeah, the percentage was low for him to have to like marry Tess in order to leap, but him still participating in the contest and doing well for himself, I think, kind of made Wayne a little bit worried and then wanted to kind of come out with his own feelings. So there's stuff there, and, like it just needed to kind of be punched up a little bit more. I'm not sure. I could almost explain away like some of these criticisms, but there's just some things where like, what? Why are we doing that? So let's not bury post. So
I
Tess.
hate this whole sequence, so let's talk about it. Let's do it.
All right, so Tess passes out from heat exhaustion, and so it why is this a an event in the contest? First off, everyone is kind of like just throwing in their own suggestions of what like Sam has to do, or in this case Doc. But the post hole digging, like who came up with that, right? Like was it chance? Because I feel if I feel like Tess should not have had seemed that she has such a disadvantage just because the physicality of it. Like I feel she would have been smarter than that. She would have drank her water. And so this is where, yeah, it's just kind of like there's just some things that men can do better than women. And the thing that women can do better than men is to have babies. But
Huh?
that's
Yeah.
just, that's just
What?
medicine 101, I think.
But like, I don't know. That just doesn't seem like something like
Biology
Sam would
101 or,
say. Sam would say
right,
like the Sam that was infatuated with Donna. Donna, who was a scientist. Like that just doesn't seem like the same character to me. And granted, what do I know? Because I've watched 5 episodes now, but like it
right.
just seemed like a different person to me. I was shocked that he said that, honestly.
So this is a question I've asked you before. Do you think that was Sam, or do you think that was a little bit of Doc?
Okay, all right, well, fair enough. All right,
Yeah,
I think that'd be a little bit of Doc then. I don't think the Sam that I know so far would say that. So,
yeah. Hey, hashtag that's not my Sam.
hashtag not my Sam.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not something they're trying to do here. I'm pretty sure because when they start to do that, it's very much not in your face, but they'll call it out like, oh, that's not you, Sam. Like, that's such and such. It's like, starting to kind of whatever. But yeah, I don't think they're trying to incorporate that into like the fabric of the Quantum Leap lore just yet. And that,
Okay,
I still don't even remember if that's something that they continue on. It actually might be more of a thing that they kind of pay more, not pay more, but uh kind of spend more attention on when it's convenient for the episode. Right. So
okay,
like, yeah, it hasn't serviced like the previous episodes thus far. So it's not something that has been introduced. But like hindsight, going back and rewatching it and kind of knowing the things that I do know in the future episodes, I'm going to start questioning like, is this a Sam thing or is this the Leapy? Even though that's not something that they're trying to distinguish at this point. But that's what I'm gonna say because yes, that did not sound like something Sam would say, and I don't know how Sam, how would your mother react to you saying something like that to
yes.
a young woman?
Just like
Um,
what?
yeah, and so it's like, well, the only man that I know that's ever had a baby is Arnold in Junior. That's
I forgot about that movie.
and yeah, um, well, two, but I'll just name Arnold for now.
Okay,
So. I'll leave it at that. The people listening and watching at home know what I'm talking about. Uh, okay, so Sam takes Tess back to the house. Buddy is there watching him strip her down. It's kind of like, oh, what is going on? And so, what did you think about that as it was happening in real time?
Um, uh, not only he took off her shirt and ripped off her pants. So I felt
Mm,
uncomfortable. So did Buddy.
I think
Um,
she's wearing Calvin Klein underwear.
is that true?
You know, the whole Marty thing, just the
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
gotcha. Yeah, and Sam says, "Fetch me a fan, will ya?" And then Sam says to himself, "All right, I'm starting to talk like him," which that was a funny line out of the rest. And then Sam or Tess wakes up, realizes she's in her skivvies, and or yeah, Tess, and then she punches Sam. Which, by the way, this is like the third episode in a row that Sam's been punched because that happened with Oscar, and then he was boxing last episode, and now he gets punched by Tess, which is very interesting. And then so Tess tries to cover herself up with a blanket, and then Sam says that she's gonna pass out again, and then he says, and then I'm gonna have to take off all of your clothes. Didn't like that line. Didn't like that at all.
right.
Um,
Yeah, what
yeah,
happened to like getting like a rag, and drench it in cold water, to
yeah,
kind of cool her off, or maybe even a wet cold blanket to kind of cover her. Um, I don't know. But also Sam isn't he shirtless? Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, isn't he shirtless at this
yeah,
point? So yeah,
yeah, I
so
believe
that's the
so.
other thing. Like, in Tessa's mind, yeah, he kind of deserved that punch. She wakes up, all she has
Hmm.
is her, brassiere and underwear, and he's shirtless. As far as she, yeah, as far as she knows, like, he tried taking advantage of her. And so, yeah, Sam's gonna get punched. You're right. I did not like that sequence either. I liked seeing Tess a little bit vulnerable because of the lightning. That gave her like an extra
Yeah, she's
layer.
afraid. Yeah,
Yeah. But also that entire sequence, like just the way, how she wakes up. Like I felt, well, first off, my note was Tess wakes up, it takes 10 minutes to realize she's in her bras and undies, which I was exaggerating, but it felt a little too long for her to realize because at this point she's already sipped the salt water, is talking to Sam, and then happens to look down and realizes that she doesn't have clothes on.
yeah, that was a little weird. Very weird. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that whole
Uh,
sequence. So, yeah, I don't even know why. So, what about the slow dancing?
yeah, so they ended up dancing, and Tess does not know how to dance, and so I guess Doc Sam teaches her. Um, and uh, this somehow makes the contest tied. I don't know because I don't know that cowboying is a or dancing is a cowboy event, but apparently it is. Um, but Tess, why does Tess go away crying? I can't remember what happens now. Um,
I think she was starting to kind of fall for him.
yeah, I guess that's what it is because there's actually a really good shot that I thought was pretty cool. She's driving away, it's pouring down rain, and the shot is through the windshield in the rain, but also she's crying, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah, so
It is a cool shot, and it's very, I don't want to say like brief, like it's a blink and you miss it because it's not that at all. It lingers on it a little bit, but I know how the episode plays out, but I can see somebody like watching this, for the first time, and thinking like, oh no, is something terrible gonna happen right now? Like she's driving off while it's raining and she's crying and she's alone. Is something gonna happen? Like veer
oh
off
yeah,
and yeah, crash or something like that. But it's almost like a kind of like a movie trope, TV trope, of something bad is gonna happen. But yeah, I don't know because Sam even talks to Piggy, and it seems that he's revealing that he too was kind of falling for Tess. So like the feelings were, excuse me, a little. kind of quote unquote mutual a little bit. And
Is this
so,
is this when Doc shares his diary with her? Or is that later? I can't remember. I'm
oh
trying to look in
boy,
my notes. I'm sorry.
no, no, no. I believe I think yes, yes. I think he has shown her this already because it's not until later that Wayne gives her his letters.
Yes. Um,
Yeah, Doc had like a scrapbook slash diary.
yeah, which is
Sounds obsessive,
yeah, it's a little creepy. Yeah.
a lot of creepy.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Um,
If you've remembered, it's when she walks in and we don't see Al, but he's talking to Al, and she just walks in like you always talk to yourself or like something like that, and he
yeah.
is like trying to put everything away, and there's like several paper clippings or newspaper clippings and stuff like that. So again, it sounds like she's pretty quote unquote accomplished, where she's at least being like reported on or something that there's articles about her and stuff like that. But then when we see her do certain things like digging holes, it's like really like that she can't do just because she's a woman, I guess. You know?
I think she would have been fine if she was just hydrated. I don't think
Yeah,
drinking water is a manly thing or a womanly thing. I just think it's something you should do. Stay hydrated, just in general.
absolutely. 100%. You
Yeah.
know, but man, this contest, I tell you, man.
Yeah.
Just in case we forget to say it later, this is something that we've talked about off mic. But like, if this is an episode you like, please, like if you have answers to a lot of our questions,
Yes.
we would like to hear your thoughts. But only about this episode. I'd rather not want an email about like the reboot or anything like that, or nothing that we're not covering. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, where do we leave off? So the slow dancing.
Um, yeah.
I think she was starting to kind of like feel something, and I don't know if Wayne really got the sense of it, unless that's something I missed. But I don't know. Maybe the last straw for Wayne was when Sam tries to ride Widowmaker again,
Yeah, that's
and
what, yeah.
yeah, and
Uh,
and again, it's just like Widowmaker is supposed to be like this literal beast, right? All of Texas knows that only Tess can ride her. So on the second try, Sam's able to will, like staying on Widowmaker long enough to impress Tess, I guess.
well, yeah, so Sam was going down to ride Widowmaker. Everyone's getting ready for church because it's Sunday. Um, and so they're shocked to see Sam there. And then Al pops up and Sam says, "Okay, well, because the horse can see Al because animals can see him now." Um,
Oh,
yeah.
like this.
So he's humming to him. However, this whole time he's been having problems with Tina, which, by the way, confused me because we met Tina in the very first episode, and now we're learning. Al's asking Sam if he slept with Tina, and I'm like, did Sam even meet Tina? But then I guess we asked Brian Green, who runs Al's place. Apparently, there's a different Tina, which I guess makes more sense now because,
Yes.
yeah,
Well, I mean, Al in this episode, Al meets the Tina that he's been talking about at a poker game or like in Vegas or something, right?
oh, right, 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 yeah,
So in this story, we find out that he's known that Tina that he's been talking about. The first Tina we saw was in Genesis, and I guess that's it. Because even Al questions like, "Oh, you've seen her too, haven't you?" He's like, "I don't remember a Tina, let alone her tattoo."
oh, right,
And
right,
so
yeah,
so we had to reach out to our Ziggy to to find out like, well, hey, so like what's the story on Tina? And he's like, oh yeah, that's two different Tinas. And we're like, okay, that makes a lot more sense, especially in hindsight with like the other episodes, anytime a Tina was mentioned. So the Tina that he's currently with, he cheats on, and apparently she cheats on him with like others as well. And the other Tina, he gave a ride, and that was the extent of it.
okay, yeah. I thought that was that original Tina. I think we discussed
Same.
we are they retconning or something? Like
That's
I
what we
was very
thought. Yeah.
confused. Yeah.
I'm still confused.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I did find it. So Tina calls on the phone, and Al has to take that call right away. And he did the door thing again, where this time like he leaves through a literal imaginary door through the plane of the earth. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah. Right,
Um,
right. Now, have we seen it go up and down yet, or is always an actual door?
I think we've only seen it be a door like two other times. Like one in the very first episode when he was fishing with the sun. Um,
Right.
Al walked through the door, and then the other time, it was kind of a door was um
In
in the
Star-Crossed?
Star-Crossed where he's being drug out, and then it's kind of like a double door. It kind of looked like
Right.
so. Yeah. It's he leaves in different ways, I guess. I don't know.
He sure does. And then Sam even holds the door open for him at the very end for him to walk through, even though Oxford just walked through. To me, I think they just wanted to save a little money and not have to use like a special effects for that sequence. But it does make, for a bit of a funny gag here with like Buddy watching Doc come out, like just holding the door for nothing.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so I guess we find out that Tess chooses Wayne based on his dancing.
Yeah, so, well, so um I did want to talk about I think what kind of ruined the whole Widowmaker scene for me too is and listen, there's not like a lot of budget for the show, I'm assuming. But like so they used a stunt guy on the horse, but then when
Right.
they're but then when it's the close up of Scott Bakula, it's just him like on a mechanical bull maybe,
Yes.
like pointed towards the sky.
According to Al's Place, I believe it actually said that
Okay,
Scott
and
Bakula was on
it
that for those shots.
yeah, and it seemed like the most um non-dangerous thing I could I don't
Yeah.
know. But
So is listed under miscellaneous trivia. Bakula is in a studio writing a bucking bronco for the second Widowmaker scene.
okay, yeah. I just, um but yeah, so I guess that makes it official and contest over, Doc wins, but then he turns it down for some reason. Um I don't know why. And then and
I
then yeah.
wonder I wonder if they're trying to make it difficult for Tess to choose between the two. This guy who basically risked his life for possibly 50,000 acres, of the ranch, which he also just turns down. I don't know. But then like the whole thing with Wayne, like it's not even like sweet, like he just comes in and is like, I loved you since day one. I want to rope you. And I'm just like, and she just wants to dance with him, and he seems to dance, just as well as Sam as Doc. And it was
Uh,
just more of the feeling, like maybe she just felt a little bit more comfortable with Wayne, and it just felt more right.
well, so actually, I we were wrong. I just found it in my notes.
Hmm.
It's after that when um, she comes to meet. She chases after Doc because Chance says, calf have to be roped before you put a brand on him. Why not a man? And so she chases after Doc back to his house. That's when Doc gives her his diary and all that stuff. So she sits there and reads it. And she said, like, you didn't really ever pay attention to me. We've only talked to each other about critters. Um, so that's when he gives her the diary. And then they start to dance. And then Wayne comes and he has a whole set of letters that he's been writing all these years. All these
In
years, he
his
just
hat.
has these
Yeah,
letters.
right there.
And, he could have just said this stuff out loud, but instead he wrote it in letters. So then she has to read these letters. And there's like a very dramatic scene where he's just reading and they're just sitting there waiting for her to finish reading these letters. And
And I just want to be like awkward, between
yeah,
like Doc and Wayne in the living room there.
yes. And then they dance again, and I guess that you could see them starting to get grow closer because you can see Sam in the background making aw shuck motions. Um,
You know what?
and
There's one thing I want to credit, because you were talking about like that sequence, the of Tess driving, how it was just kind of a really nice shot. I liked when they were playing poker. You can see that when Sam was talking to Al, or even if Sam's kind of by himself at the table, you can see like Tess and Wayne in the back at the bar. And then when it goes to them to talk, and Tess is like, "Hey, I don't need you like helping me out, whatever, cheating." And you can see Sam's perfectly in the middle behind them in the background, like sipping on the beer and stuff. And so I really like the
okay,
blocking of all that. Yeah. Almost,
yeah.
like love triangle, right? With the three of them in that frame.
So on those same lines, when Tess passes out and Sam is driving her away in his truck, um, on the hillside, Wayne is looking down on them, kind of like Batman, honestly, like forlorningly. I was like, that's like a Batman shot from
Hey,
the top of Gotham
he's
City.
got a jaw like a he could be a Batman, in
Yeah,
some
yeah.
reincarnation of it. Yeah. He's got the
Um,
look.
s- so yeah, I thought that was interesting. And so eh, I guess we find out that Tess, because of this dance and those letters that for some reason he was writing and not saying out loud to her, um, she chooses him. And we hear that Sam had he once danced with his kindergarten teacher who he had a crush on. And then he graduated kindergarten, was very upset. But then he had a crush on his first grade teacher. So I don't know if that means anything or if we'll ever hear about that. But I was just like, oh, that's an interesting line. Um, we also learned that Tina and Al got back together, so that's okay. Um, and then yeah, so that's this. Sam's getting dressed, and then that's when we do the mirror reveal. And then, so let's talk about this now. So Doc is the best man for Tess and Wayne's wedding. Peter, I have a question for you, okay?
Okay,
You,
I might have an answer.
yeah, you're a married man, right?
I
Um,
am.
yeah. Did you ever consider to make the best man of your wedding your wife's former boyfriend? Was that ever in
Hell no.
consideration? Okay,
Hell
yeah.
no.
What a
No.
weird choice. I don't understand this at all. I don't why
Yeah, not just no, but hell no. Yeah,
what
I had a hard enough time having to be around the ex-boyfriend because they have like mutual friends, like at parties and gatherings. It took me a long time to be okay with like seeing the guy before me kind of thing, you know.
yeah, fair enough. So
Yeah.
why and then
They they
so
had a they had a really nice moment together. They kissed, and that was just like days, right? Or the day before, or 2 days before, or whatever.
and something I always think about after like when the episode ends is when Sam leaps out, how what is he leaving this person in? How is their life now? Sam totally blew up Doc's life. Like he revealed himself to Tess, revealed all. There's no way he's ever working on their farm again. Zero chance. He can't go back, and he's
That's
not going
not
to be the
true.
best man at the wedding. He has to
Well,
go be a
that's what I was.
veterinarian somewhere else. I'm sorry. No, he's not going to work for them ever again. I don't believe it. There's no way. No way.
I had eh, see we don't have this answer now because it hasn't been brought up yet, but it will like in a future episode. Like what do the Leapies know when they come back? Do they just reappear and be like, "Oh, I just lost time"? So that's
Yeah.
something, kind of interesting. Yeah, so Doctor shows up and like, "Oh, I'm the best man." Wait, what the? It,
Yes,
it,
I
it is very
know.
odd.
It just, I don't know. I don't know. I think Sam kind of ruined this man's life, if I'm being honest.
I would say that. I mean, maybe not necessarily ruined, but hey, he's got a piggy out of it. So, um, you got anything else before we get to our list, our games?
Well, yeah. So let's talk about Buddy Holly here.
Okay.
Um, so he's having trouble with the lyrics to the song. So Sam is looking for Piggy, so he's chanting Piggy Sooie," and the so he already had part of the song worked out where he's like, I've never loved you, whatever. I don't even know the lyrics. I'm sorry.
Right.
But why is he chanting Piggy Suey? Oh no, hey, wait, hey, hey, buddy, it's your cousin Marvin. You know those lyrics
Right.
you've been looking for?
Right.
Why don't you try Peggy Sue? I don't know. Like,
There
how'd
I
you?
did see well, I think Alice Place did have a something about that song because I believe what I read, and it was a couple different sources, but I believe at this point, Buddy Holly had already been like on t television and opening up for
He
Elvis.
he was, yeah, and he was part of a group already, yeah, and
The Crickets, yeah. And
yeah,
so
he
I
was.
think I think Peggy Sue was actually written by somebody else in the group.
It was, and Peggy Sue is a real person.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, so I mean, they tried, but uh, yeah,
They definitely played with the real life stuff a little bit.
but they could have used like Mary Lou or a different name, not Piggy Suey. I'm sorry.
Well, I think the Suey came from Sam because he was looking for Piggy, and he just
Right.
went Piggy, 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 and then and I think there's just always that like Suey, and I don't know where that comes from. So I think Sam just threw that in to be like
I think that's
silly
actually a
because
hog call.
is it
Uh,
really? Okay, well there you go.
so there was. Let's talk about wrestling again. So in the
Okay.
90s, there was a hog wrestler, Phineas Godwin. Yes, that was
Hmm.
when wrestling was doing professions. Like there was a garbage man wrestler, there was a IRS man wrestler, and but there was a hog wrestler, and yeah, he would call "Sui Sui" when he was in the ring. So yeah,
This was still WWF.
WWF like in the 90s. Yeah,
Okay.
which
I
made
don't
me wonder
remember any of those.
why was there never a mailman wrestler? What the heck, you
Well,
know?
I was gonna ask you if there was one because like those all that you just named, I don't recognize any of those. And like I'm a not even a fair weather fan. Do know some of those bigger names from back in the days. I sup I remember telling somebody I was like I don't know any wrestlers, and I just like ended up just listing like 10 just out of my ass, just like Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
just kept on
yeah.
going, stuff like that. I don't know wrestling, but any more on Buddy Holly?
Uh, no, I just, the actor was good. The execution was silly. They were going for a Back to the Future thing, I guess, is my, ish.
Possibly.
Speaking of Back to the Future, we definitely were just calling the veterinarian Doc just because of Doc Brown, right? Because we could have called him Andrew or Doctor.
Daniel Young, his name.
Oh, Daniel. We could not call him Andrew. My bad. Yeah. And they just called him Doc. Doc. Hey, Doc. Doc, Doc, Doc. And I'm like, okay.
That's like right there in front of my face too. And to
Hmm.
me, I was just like, oh, because he's a vet, so I never even picked up
And
on the doc
especially if
part.
you're dating somebody, like you wouldn't call them Doc. Like, I don't, at least I don't know. I wouldn't. If I was dating a woman that was a doctor, I would not call her Doc. Sorry. I would just call her her
Yeah,
first name.
like Tess does to her dad.
Right. So yeah. What a weird naming convention Tess does. She calls her sort of love her by his profession name and her dad by his first name.
Yeah. I will say this. I'm glad that we finally got to record this episode because you've been itching to start the next one just so we can get going. So like this one took us a while to schedule. Yeah, definitely not one of my favorites. Probably will not be revisiting. Currently at the bottom of my, rewatch list to watch again. I think at the time I mentioned the right hand of God maybe being the bottom and then Starcross being at the top.
Yeah.
I don't even
Um
mention Genesis because it's the pilot.
when I rewatch season one, I will skip this episode. I disliked it very much. And Yeah, I think Right Hand of God was far superior to this episode. I just, yeah, not a fan.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it's just yeah, you're talking about 89, talking about something from the mid 50s in Texas.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
So,
haven't visited the South very often, so don't know.
yeah, it'd be funny if like there was a cut line where Sam's just like, "Quiet, piggy," you know? All right, so let's get to the
Yeah.
games.
hmm
Um, all right, let's have you start off. Did you have a howdy doody moment? This is something that gives you a sense of the era.
Um, I don't know if I have anything specific, honestly. No, sorry.
It doesn't have to be anything sexy. Well, again, I watched it only twice, but the first time I watched it after, reviewing The Right Hand of God, I was just like, oh, and this is also after speaking with you where you're like, I did not like that episode. I was just like, huh,
Uh-huh.
okay, well, let me watch it. I did not remember that it was the mid 50s. And so it was hard to kind of pinpoint, like, was there anything that really gave it away? Because this could have been just a small ranch in Texas, again, like in the 90s, early aughts. There's nothing that really dates it. So all I have is a jukebox, which doesn't even give you the 50s.
Okay.
It could still be the 80s. We had a jukebox in Top Gun, right? Or no? Am I making that up?
Sure. Oh God. I don't remember.
Jukeboxes were still around. We had a local burger franchise here. Something kind of like our version of In and Out. Before we started getting In and Out burger over here, but we had something local. And some of their locations would have jukeboxes, and then
Yeah.
they eventually got rid of them, and then a lot of those stores have since closed, like in the last few years. But jukeboxes, you don't see them very much anymore. Maybe like novelty restaurants or something like that. Um, that's the only thing. Because like it's easy to say like, oh well, I saw like old ass radio inside Doc's house. But people have old ass stuff. Period. And that doesn't give me like a sense of the era. So that's all I have is jukebox. Area code moment when this is when Sam says something that doesn't make sense for its time. You didn't? Did you have something for this?
Yeah. So he uses the phrase, how about them Dodgers? Which is,
That's what I have.
yeah. Is that from, I think that's from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, I believe.
So
Is where,
I've seen that movie like once, and
okay.
y- you know.
I think I think they actually say, how about the Mets? Maybe not Dodgers. But yeah, so it's like a thing to kind of change the subject ish.
Is
Yeah.
it? I always thought that it's just a thing when you're just talking sports, Hey, how about them Blazers? Hey, they've been doing pretty good. So Sam could have been changing the subject, but this isn't my like something that I had to look up, but because she's just like, huh? It's because 2 years later, the Brooklyn Dodgers would have moved to LA.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know
I thought that was before
why,
that. Okay.
yeah, so I don't know why like Texas, like why she would have known. I'm not sure, but
Okay.
that's something that she was just like kind of like what, and so I don't know. Like maybe yeah. I mean, it's America's pastime, no? Like maybe that's something he thought that she would have known about.
True. Um,
Did you have anything to add to Dodgers
no, no.
line?
That
Okay,
we can move on. Yeah.
all right. When was Sam seen talking to himself?
He was talking to
Widowmaker.
he, yeah,
Oh,
well, so once he says, "Could you just once use the door?" He was talking to Al. I have that written down, but I don't remember that moment, honestly. I
it's
apologize.
actually we talked about it because I have the same one. It's when Sam holds the door for Al and Buddy is on the porch. It's at the
Okay.
very end.
Okay,
Yeah, he's like,
yeah,
"Can you
okay. Now I
for once
remember.
just use
Yes.
the door?" And he holds it
Y
open. And
yes.
um and there's actually a
Oh.
point where I don't know if this was on purpose or what, but there's one. So Al is standing there next to Sam, but from the one vantage point of Buddy's, and I didn't get the sense that like we were actually at the POV of Buddy, but there was a point where Sam was standing there as Doc, but Al wasn't there. but then they cut from a different angle, and then Al is standing next to Sam again as they're like walking down the steps or something like that. I don't know if it was a weird editing mistake or what, but it was just something I caught. I was just like, wait, Al was like not there for a hot second.
So actually, I did have a different one written down actually because he's seen talking to Al during the poker game, and then Wayne's like, "What's that?" And Sam goes, "Oh, nothing, just bluffing." So
Oh yeah, yeah. They
yeah,
when Al tells him about like stacking and were you talking about the cards?
yeah. And then Sam yells out "Gushy" because I guess they're
Oh
talking
yeah,
about yeah,
it's Navajo for I call or something like that. Yeah.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Let's see here. What about was there a needle drop you like?
Um. So the only reason why I know this is because I had subtitles on. I don't know this song. I'm not gonna sing it this week. It's Cold Heart by Hank Williams. Don't, yeah. That's all I got. Yeah.
I did see that on the interwebs. I'm just gonna go with Peggy Sue.
Okay, fair enough. Yep.
No,
Yeah.
not a needle drop, but a song definitely made it. It's kind of like when I mentioned what was it? Bebopalula by like Al had asked I think Sam was at the jukebox, right? And he was like he said mentioned something about Bebopalula, but we didn't hear the song, but Al just mentioned it by title. I think that was in Genesis actually.
Yeah, it was.
Making me do homework, something that was brought up and you had to look it up.
So I looked up the whole Buddy Holly songwriting thing, and that's what, yeah, I was
Oh, okay.
interested in, yeah, from this episode.
All right. So what I looked up was hog cholera
Oh, okay. Well,
because
I'm sure that's interesting.
they really wanted to talk about hog cholera
Yeah.
and they wanted I guess these cowboys had a they were really hard on wanting to kill these pigs
They were all about shooting this pig. They were ready to
they sure
go.
were. They sure were. So so hog cholera or classical swine fever is a highly contagious viral disease affecting pigs that is not transmitted to humans. And so just to kind of skip like all these other things here, other important information, hog cholera is a devastating economic threat to the pork industry, but does not cause illness to humans. And so maybe that was kind of why like Sam, kind of had to cure this pig because maybe it was hog cholera and it would have like infected like the rest of the pigs, putting, kind of hitting their pork stock, livestock. I'm
Okay,
not a
yeah.
rancher, clearly.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yes, you didn't
but
need to
yeah,
say that.
no, you didn't get the sense of that. All
Yeah.
right, so that's what I looked up. And did you have a moment of the episode
Moment of the episode. Oh boy, I didn't think about this. Let me think real quick. Why don't you say
while
yours
you're
and I'll
thinking of
think.
that? I kind of mentioned it. The moment it just kind of stuck out for me because I was just like, oh, well, here's something. I mentioned it earlier. It's when Sam calls Wayne a cheater and he gets offended and stands up and basically tells Chance like, hey, like I'm owed an ass kicking here for him calling me a cheater, basically. That's kind of like the gist of it. And I was just like, wow, some real tension. Like finally something's going on. And so I really like that moment. And I'm glad they didn't have to get into a fight, but we did find out a lot about what was going on at that point.
Yeah. I guess for me it's just Buddy Holly finally getting those lyrics that he's been looking for. I mean,
There we go.
Piggy Sue was so close to Peggy Sue. It was so
Very
close.
close. Very
Yeah.
close. Any MVPs for you?
I guess it's Buddy Holly. I guess it's Crater Face Coburn. It's yeah.
For me, I don't know if I want to give it necessarily to a character. I'm going to go off the cuff a little bit here. I'm going to give it to Mr. Lance Legault, Legault.
Okay.
That's definitely a French spelling. Who plays Chance? I just Even though I didn't like a lot of the things his character was saying, I kind of liked the character, specifically during the poker sequence, because I thought it was, kind of boss of him to be like, well, there's only one way to find out, flips the cards and you know, basically telling Sam like, kind of forget the actual language, but it was whatever he said. It was telling Sam like, you better be right about this for challenging a man and calling him a cheater, basically. So I kind
Yeah,
of like that. Chance wasn't given a whole lot to do, but I liked at least what Mr. Lance Legault here, what he did with Chance, the little bit that he got. I think he was kind of a standout for me. I liked Wayne, but Wayne was underdeveloped. And I liked
yeah,
Tess, but also the way she was written made her seem very, very young. So like I have a hard read on Tess because to me, I feel she's young, but then we had a sequence where we just saw her in her bras and undies, which made me feel uncomfortable because I don't know her age and there's a lot of unknowns here. And so like, it was a hard scene to get through.
I think they were trying to make her a strong woman, but it seemed more patronizing than anything, right? Like, I don't
Yes.
know.
Yes. It
Uh,
does. And so that's the other thing. Like I wish that she was a little not even feisty. Like I needed someone, kind of like Trixie in The Right Hand of God,
yes, yes,
someone that
exactly.
can, stand, you know, like the whole line, like, oh, women's lib is gonna love you. Like, okay, yeah, we could kind of see it, but like, yeah, I don't know if it's a directing thing. I'm not sure, but I wish that maybe she was written a little bit differently or something. I'm not, and maybe I could have like tested a little bit better, at least for like a suitor for like a doc. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, Doc.
Yeah,
Um, can we talk real quick? Sorry, like I
yeah,
should have talked this before, but so this whole episode, like at the end, I just kind of felt empty because he leaps because he gives Buddy Holly the name Peggy Sue, the lyrics he's been looking for. This whole episode was kind of just meaningless. Like, what was the point of it then? Like, it just, I felt hollow after watching the end of this, to be honest with you.
yeah. No, that's a really good way to put it. Actually, I wasn't even really saying that earlier, but I was basically like, this is low stakes. Like, the leap in
Right,
itself is kind of like, why are we doing this? Like, it's almost a waste of a leap, kind of a waste of an episode. I mean, very little special effects. I don't think they're doing a bottled episode in the first season where there's only 8 episodes total, you
right.
know. So kind of a weird one. Definitely not the strongest of the bunch thus far. The weakest, I would actually say. So, all right, let's see here. This date in history. What do you have for us from what's the date here?
August 5th, 1956.
There we go. What do you got?
So, fictionally, just I'll point out this apparently is a big day in the Twin Peaks universe. I never watched Twin Peaks. I don't know why. But so on this day though, the 1956 German Grand Prix is held in oh boy, Nuremberg, sure, and is
Nailed
won
it.
by Juan Manuel Fangio. The event was attended by the future King of Spain, Juan Carlos. I didn't know we were still doing kings in Spain at that point, who was
Hmm.
supporting his relative Alfonso de Portugal. I just did that so I could
Ah,
try to pronounce names badly.
yeah.
Yeah, that it was a
You're
pretty
you're
much
succeeding.
yeah, yes. Um,
I'm one to
eh,
speak, so yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There wasn't really much else that happening that day, but the number one movie at that point was The King and I,
Okay.
and the number one song
Et
was My
cetera, et
Prayer
cetera, et cetera.
by the Platters. Yeah. Um,
I'm sorry, the name of the title of the song again by the Platters?
My Prayer.
My Prayer. I wonder if I heard it, I would know. Because I liked a lot of the stuff from this era to the 50s. We didn't hear enough of it. Um, but yeah, the I spoke over you when I was talking about the movie The King and I. Yeah, because it's like they remade it like back in the early aughts, or was it the late 90s? No, I think it was like 2001, 2003 maybe, with Anna
Oh,
and the King, Jodie Foster and Chow Yun-fat.
oh, okay. I did not know this. I'm
Yeah,
gonna have to
yeah.
check that out.
So
Yeah.
that, yeah, that's based on The King and I. Obviously a dramatic version, no singing. I think they incorporate like the big war between like Burma and I don't know. It's been a really long time. Actually, I want to go back and check it out because Siam is basically now Thailand, cousins to me basically. So I should go back and watch that now that I have some time in as a podcaster and I can watch it critically. So
There you go.
um, that that's pretty much it for this episode. How the test was won. What did you think about the teaser, the leap in for the next episode? If you can describe that.
Yeah, so Sam is getting uh we joined Sam post-coitus, I guess is the best way to
Yeah.
say it. And yeah, there's a woman who with a very Italian, New Yorky accent. Truth be told, this one I did kind of go ahead and watch parts of the next episode because it'd been so long since we've recorded last, and the last Quantum Leap taste in my mouth was how the test was won, and I didn't like it, so I wanted to watch an episode of Quantum Leap that I did like. So, yeah.
And you know
So
what? To be fair, Mikey, I said, hey, you know what? We don't have to do the prediction, and you can go ahead and just watch it. You just
yeah,
didn't have the time to, but I did say like, hey, you know what? What's one episode? You
yeah.
know?
It
So
just yeah.
okay, so based off of what you saw, it's called Double Identity.
Okay. Um, I'm guessing we're doing like a Godfather Mafia thing, and Sam is kind of leading a double life, I'm assuming.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hey, that sounds good. My Mafia, Double Life. I could see that for sure. I remember it being a fun one. I remember a huge song, one you're probably familiar with. I feel like it's kind of I don't know any history of that song, and I feel like we'll probably learn more after when we record our rewatch of that. But I feel it's kind of like a very popular Italian song that maybe is heard at like celebrations or something, just based off
Okay.
of kind of what I remember. Um, and there's definitely a reason for the title, Double Identity for sure. And I remember a huge kiss with history in that one too. So a fun
Oh.
one with both Sam and Al in that next episode. So so there we go. Double identity on the next episode. If you guys have not heard, we did mention it on the previous episode that we now have a Facebook group, the Quantum Leap Podcast group. You can even type in QLP to search for it. A few of us, from the Quantum Leap fandom that's been around are also in there, including Albie, Brian, and some others. But yeah, join us. You can correct us in the group. You can ask us questions, interact with us. We're both in the group, and that's where we share all of our newest episodes. So if you're looking a way to get a hold of us and you're not on social media, like Instagram, on X, where I've been sharing those as well. You can also find us on Facebook. The email, I check it every now and again, but most of it is kind of notifications from like Albie and Christopher using Riverside to record the like Star Trek podcast. So I don't see um a lot of those. Usually that they're probably checking. So anyway, hopefully you guys got something out of this episode. you know, I didn't hate it. There's not a lot of things that I liked about it. I'll say that much. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll just say I
Mikey
didn't
did,
like
yeah.
it. I was gonna say hate, but I'll just say I didn't like it. Yeah. I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, sorry to leave a sour taste in everyone's mouth. Let's go watch Double Identity, everybody. I know it's difficult to find right now because it's not necessarily streaming anywhere unless you're renting it. So hopefully, many of you that are subscribed to the podcast, the YouTube channel, you guys already own physical copies of yourselves. But also, I mean, I'm assuming you guys know these episodes like pretty well. If you're like listening to like a rewatch, I know most of my rewatches, I don't rewatch along.
Yeah, there's a
Uh,
bunch of podcasts I listen to. I don't actually watch every episode of the show. I just throw it on and listen. So
If anything, sometimes the conversations of these specific episodes will inspire me to go and pull that up, kind of like how you did with Saved by the Bell. So if for anything, like we hope to maybe inspire you guys to go and be like, you know what, these guys really disliked how the test was won. Let me go see if it was that bad. Hopefully, if we could do that for one person, hey, like we did something, and that's something to take away from this episode.
on that note, shout out to my I don't know if I want to yell them out by name specifically, but my friends and family that are watching me on this show, but not watching the show. Thank you for your support. I also wanted to point out too, by the way, we are on Spotify now, and I know a lot of people have been asking for that. So please, if first of all, if go onto Spotify, please give us a rating. Hopefully 5 stars and a nice comment would help. If you're on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up and a nice comment. And on Apple Podcasts too, please. That would help us out.
Yeah, yeah, it would really help out the visibility, especially those that, are looking for it and don't know that it's available on something like a Spotify. Because once we kind of took over, a lot of people were reaching out asking about Spotify, and it took us, some time to get it done, but we got it done. So,
Yeah, it was kind of a headache for me, if I'm being honest. And we had Albie trying to help out, and we
Morgan,
found a way to get it on there. Yeah, we asked a couple different people. We found a way to get it on Spotify. So if you didn't know, we're on there. So
yeah, yeah. So yeah, the ratings, even if it's like if you want to give us like a 1 star at the very least, give us like a reason why, and maybe that's something that we can not necessarily fix, but if it's something that, if you can help educate us, or you know what I mean? If it's some way to improve the podcast, we're open to constructive criticisms for sure. So if you give us like a low
that's
rating
true.
at the very least, yeah, give it, tell us why, and we'll see, what we could do about it. The uhs and ums, guys, this is just how we talk naturally, and I know, we're following like several people who are very articulate, again, like authors and big YouTubers, and so like they already kind of like have that articulation. Us, like we're just you guys who like to talk about common interest, and so I know like people have asked before, like, oh, like you say us and ums a lot. I go, yeah, but that's actually how I naturally speak. So like I hope that you're also in it because of the hosts and not necessarily just the content. So yeah, hopefully people are enjoying Mikey's like fresh perspectives, coming in as a newbie, asking questions that maybe I haven't even thought about, and having to think about it on the fly and be like, yeah, you know what? Didn't catch that before. And maybe this is the reason why, based off of like things I know from future episodes or what have you. But I will say this, not to, without revealing what the episode is, today I was telling my brother-in-law, like, oh yeah, the Quantum Leap podcast that I've taken over, it's been picking up, blah blah blah, and he goes, oh, what season is this one episode? I go, oh, I don't know, but I remember that one really well, and we haven't gotten there yet. And then like minutes later, I'm talking to another coworker. I'm like, hey, did you ever watch Quantum Leap? He's like, yeah. Wasn't there an episode where he leaped into a person that was like this? I go, that is so funny because literally minutes ago, my brother-in-law asked me about that exact same episode. And today, you guys, on the today's recording, again, without spoiling anything, and Mikey, be careful when you get on social media. Today is also the anniversary date of the air date, the anniversary of the air date for that specific episode. So in three
Oh,
instances, I got hit with this episode, a very I would say a very popular one. I think people do like it a lot, and maybe not so much the episode and like the subject matter, but maybe a character from the episode.
okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, part
Very
of the
vague.
I'm trying not to get spoiled, and it's kind of hard because people say, "Oh, we'll just look it up on such and such," and I'm like, well, I don't want to look anything up too specific because I don't want
Right.
to, I just,
Not too much research. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so that will do it. Thanks everybody for tuning into this episode. Hopefully we did not upset anybody. We're just being honest. Like, again, watching it in 2025, there's a lot of problems. Very problematic, the episode. It did not age well. So hopefully you guys can at least appreciate the honesty. We're not gonna lie about it and be fake, right? Like we were rewatching this and be like, yeah, I know it's 89 but still. So didn't do a whole lot of the Back to the Future references, but we pointed the things out, again, kind of Tess being undressed, the character of the doc. Little things like that. All right, so can't wait to talk about double identity on the next episode. And until then, we will catch you guys on the next sleep.